in previous programs that we've done with each other, Alan, we always come around to the subject of social responsibility. Talk frequently with teenagers on our programs, and they're always talking about protesting war and pollution and destruction to the environment, racism and chauvinism and all of those things. They say that there is more than doing no-thingness. There is more than just self-improvement, that man must be tremendously involved in these issues. When you watch Walter Cronkite or David Brinkley and see the world falling apart, do you not feel some desire to, in some way, alter conditions on the planet?
Well, one of the problems is that through mass communications, television and radio and newspapers, everybody is deluged with information about problems where they can produce no immediate effective action. Their ire is aroused, their adrenals are aroused, their sense of injustice is aroused, and they can't do anything about it right then and there. And this is utterly frustrating to everyone. Now, first of all, I'm personally, obviously concerned about all these issues. I'm very concerned about ecology, about the conservation of our natural heritage. I'm concerned about prisons, about law, about economics, about hospitals. And I do a lot of work in these domains. But now look here. Concern about any issue involving compassion towards human beings is tricky. You would not want your surgeon who's operating on you to remove a bum appendix to be so concerned about you that his hand shakes when he's operating. And so surgeons tend to do their operations in a kind of offhand way. They joke with each other while they're operating, because they must not be concerned in an emotional way, because their hands would shake. So in exactly the same way, when we do something in the way of political action, we must do it with a certain sense of detachment, as if it didn't matter. Gary Snyder, the poet, who's a great friend of mine, said that to do good ecological work, you must in the first place realize that it doesn't matter whether you succeed or fail. The universe will go on. It will be a mess for maybe 1 million years. But after that it'll correct itself and begin all over again. Now if you know that, and you're grounded on that sensation that it's really all right, then you can go into the work of correcting and doing things that need to be done right now without losing your temper. When a political initiative is a manifestation of somebody who's lost his temper, it will fail. And therefore I dislike intensely most kinds of political enthusiasm, because they are manifestations of lost tempers. And that's my basic feeling with regard to this. I am concerned about all the great political and economic issues of our time, about racism and poverty and so on and so forth. But I'm not going to lose my temper about it.
I don't mean to sound argumentative. That's never my intention. But I just have to pursue this for just another moment or two, and then we can move on to time, which I want to talk with you about. I understand to some degree and recognize the wisdom in so much of what you say, Alan. But I recognize that as we sit here, almost sometimes in the lap of intellectual coziness, that we are being listened to by people in Watts with rats running through the living room and hunger and things that, and when you say such things as perhaps in a million years the universe will reorient and correct itself then, you and I can accept that. We'll go home to electric blankets tonight. But for 75% of all the people on the planet, they go home again to hunger and disease and poverty and blah, blah, blah. And I just have never totally been able to reconcile in my own head the doing of no thingness with the belief that it'll eventually all correct itself. Could you just clarify
that's
that?
not quite the point. It isn't doing nothing. It's not forcing.
Aha.
You cannot achieve any creative result by forcing it. When you force the growth of tomatoes, they come out enormous but taste of nothing. So likewise, when you force the growth of the third world, what happens? "Kindly let me help you or you'll drown," said the monkey, putting the fish safely up a tree. The foreign aid program is a disaster because we're trying to impose our way of life on the third world when they may not even want it.
Yeah.
And what we have to do, and what we have not sufficiently done, is ask the third world, what kind of civilization do you want to have? Do you really want freeways, hot dog stands, Cadillacs? Do you want your definition of sanity to be fitness to drive a car? Do they really want the kind of civilization we have? Oh no, we've got it. We've had it. And we are pretty much through with it.
Yeah.
Japan has completely ruined itself by copying our culture. Oh yes, it's a great prosperous industrial nation, but the smog has destroyed the cherry trees, and everybody in Tokyo is in such a demented state that they commute every day on underground trains where there are special officials who use their feet and arms to shove people into the trains. They condense them, more thickly packed than sardines, into these trains, and they spend 2 hours every day going from work to home, packed into these absurd conveyances. Progress? And this is not progress. This is the ruination of a country. Well, maybe they make money, but what will they buy with it? I tell you, plastic. Increasingly, the Japanese eat plastic food, wear plastic clothes, drink out of plastic utensils, and live a completely frivolous and superficial life. And this is progress.
I understand what you mean now.